Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Gambit number 3, released today, Wednesday the 28th of September 2022. And the cover here is by Whilce Portacio with Alex Sinclair on colours. And I think that this is the best cover so far by Portacio. It's the most dynamic. Featuring Gambit facing off against this new antagonist who showed up in the previous issue, and of course young de-aged Ororo as well, who seems to be wielding her powers in this cover image. And then I was wondering, until I actually read inside the comic, who this is. That's Marissa De Castro wearing Gambit's body armor, and we also learn in the inside of the issue the identity of this mysterious figure from the previous issue. So this guy is an enhanced antagonist. So he's not a mutant, it seems, but somehow enhanced. Maybe something like a super soldier program or some kind of genetic manipulation. And his character's name is Warhawk. So let's open this one up. You get a catch-up introduction to the chief characters of Gambit and Ororo, as well as what's happened in previous issues here. And the fact that all of this is taking place in the space of a flashback montage in Uncanny X-Men 267. A video about which is to be found on this channel. So at the end of the previous issue, it was thought that Gambit and Marissa might have been killed in an explosion, but they weren't. They survived, and they're suiting up now in order to rescue Marissa's mother, Dr. Gabriela De Castro, and of course Ororo. So Marissa's putting on Gambit's body armor. She says she feels like an idiot wearing it, but Gambit demonstrates the usefulness of the armor when he pulls a gun and shoots her point blank, and the bullet bounces off the armor. So she's shocked by this, and Gambit then basically talks about the value of the armor, the bright colors on the torso making for an irresistible target, which seems to be, to my mind, a reference to Dark Knight Returns #1, when Frank Miller has Batman talk about why he wears a yellow background to the bat symbol on his chest, that it's deliberately done so as to attract any fire at him, because beneath the bat symbol is reinforced Kevlar body armor. But Gambit also intriguingly says that the most excellent body armor was a gift from a friend. So who could that be? Presumably we're going to find out more in subsequent issues of this miniseries. So they discuss their plan. Gambit is going to use Marissa as a diversion, and that is indeed what happens. So then we get a little scene with Warhawk talking with his employer, Mr. Solars here, who is the developer who's been trying to force the De Castros to sell up their family farm to him. And here Warhawk hears a noise outside, so it's the alarm going. And so he heads out expecting to meet trouble in the form of Gambit and or Marissa De Castro. And then we get this very interesting scene here set in the astral plane. In the previous issue, Storm on the astral plane, when she was knocked out unconscious from her head injury, was met by her ancestor, the Egyptian priestess Ashake, who was training her in physical combat and other forms of combat. So interestingly here, Dr. De Castro also joins them on the astral plane, and Ororo is met by a challenge, which is this shadow side of herself, which Ashake says is something that she's going to have to overcome. So then we get a very action-packed sequence with Marissa in Gambit's body armor taking on the goons outside Solars's mansion. And we've got amazing art here by Sid Kotian. And it's clear too to see a couple of his influences. In the previous video, I was talking about his manga influence. And we see that with the speed lines and some of the ciphers he uses for eyes and the mouth and nose. But also I detect in some of his drawing the influence of Goran Parloff as well, who's probably most renowned for his collaboration with Garth Ennis on the Punisher Max series. So I see a little bit of Goran Parloff behind Kotian's style. But I'm very impressed by this new artist and his ability and storytelling chops, and how well he combines with Claremont. So there's a fight then between Warpath and De Castro, and they each get their kicks and punches in. But ultimately, Warpath realizes that Marissa has been a diversion, and that Gambit has made his way into the mansion. And so he returns to the house, leaving Marissa to the goons outside. Now remember, Marissa has Marine training. She's a recon Marine, so she's perfectly able to take care of herself physically, but she is being taken on there by a gang of thugs. So inside the house, Gambit indeed has made his way in. He's got his trademark deck of cards all charged up telekinetically, and he's threatening Solars there in terms of what's happened to the Doctor and Ororo. But then there arrives Warpath, who takes a punch at Gambit from behind, and Gambit attacks him. So we have the two going at each other. And while that's going, actually there's another couple of pages of the action here again. As I said before, Kotian's command of dynamic action scenes is incredibly impressive. This is really fluent stuff, flows incredibly well. And then we have something weird happen in the storyline, which is the arrival from the astral plane into the regular world of Ororo, Ashake, and Dr. De Castro. And so Ororo is able to use her mutant powers in this fashion via her astral self, even though her physical self is knocked out on the floor. And so using those powers, she wins the fight. So very interesting climax to the action of this issue. And then we get a couple of pages concerning the aftermath, where Ororo's exulting in her victory, where Marissa is talking to Gambit about how she enjoyed the role she played, and Gambit offers her the possibility of keeping the armor or getting a suit for herself. But he says, but the life it represents, cross that Rubicon, there's no going back. Meanwhile, Ororo's a little bit jealous of Gambit's relationship with Marissa, but he says to her that Marissa's just a friend, whereas Ororo's his partner, and they each say at the same time, don't ever forget that. And then we have this intriguing conclusion featuring Lila Cheney once again and Gambit for some reason in the background. And then this character that turned up at the end of issue 1 is revealed from the shadows and has been interviewing Solars, who's disfigured from the fight, and reveals her name. Her name is Bounty, and she's some kind of bounty hunter, and she is going after the bounty that is on Gambit's head. So the next issue then, Lila Cheney's going to appear, and here is a preview of the cover for the next issue by Whilce Portacio, featuring Gambit and this new character Bounty. Okay, so that is review and commentary on this latest issue of the new Gambit miniseries by Chris Claremont and Sid Kotian. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this.